What's good? What's good? I'm back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. Don't forget that I pre-record this podcast for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, BitChute, and I also stream the video version on Twitter and Twitch as well. And I go live on TikTok as well. And then I also pre-record the audio version for Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much, much more. I'm going to get into last night's NBA scores, and then I'm going to give my take on the Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese situation that's been going on and whatnot, because it keeps apparently it keeps building up and extending thanks to the first lady, Miss Jill Biden. But before we get into that, let me pull up some of these scores from last night, and we're gonna start going through them, and I'm gonna go through the box scores and whatnot. We'll see who did what. Nets roll past Pistons 123-108. Cameron Johnson gave you 15, 15 from Royce O'Neal, 19 from Nick Claxton. Mikal Bridges put up another 26 points, 18 from Joe Harris, and Day'Ron Sharp gave you 10. Now, I made a prediction since I started doing early morning sports updates that Mikal Bridges would get the 20 points a game once he got to Brooklyn, because he was at like 15, 16 a game at Phoenix. Then we got traded. He just started putting up 20s, 30, 40-point games, and that's all I've seen him put up. He put up another 26. Once he hit the 20-point mark, I predicted that he'll actually get the 20.5 a game before the end of the season. So I got to pull up his stats here and see. He's at 20.4 right now. 20.4 right now. I'm calling it. He's going to get to 20.5 by the end of the season. I think they got 1 or 2 games left, but I'm calling it. He's going to get it. The Pistons, you had 18 from Jalen Duren, 16 from James Wiseman, 33 from 23 from Jaden Ivey, and 27 from RJ Hampton. I ain't seen it. RJ Hampton put up 27 in a long time. Pistons, though, they're in the Victor Wembanyama or the Scoot Henderson sweepstakes. Knicks beat the Pacers 138-129. Quickly, Grimes, Toppin scored 30 apiece and win. What? 32 from Obi Toppin, 36 from Quentin Grimes, and 39 from Emmanuel Quickly. Wow, they actually sat dudes, and they still winning games. And they all scored. Two of them scored over 35. Not to mention, Emmanuel Quickly had 9 assists. Toppin had 6 assists and 5 assists from Quentin Grimes. Indiana Pacers, they're pretty much not even in the playing tournament, I don't think. They had TJ McConnell scored 18 off the bench, and pretty much that was it. You had 11, 12, 10, or 19 from Jalen Smith. But they're looking to next year. And they weren't healthy either, because old boy's been hurt most of the season. Tyrese Halliburton. He's missed a lot of the season. We got Hawks, Wizards. Hawks beat them 134-116, as should. Hawks rolled a third straight win, lock into play-in berth. They're still a disappointment. The Hawks should be like one of the top 6 seeds. They made all this big deal about DeJounte Murray, and it didn't really do much. Wizards didn't really play nobody but a bunch of bench players. Johnny Davis gave you 20 and 25 from Daniel Gafford as well. Sadiq Bey for the Hawks. Hold on, let's see. Oh, damn. I pulled this out a little bit too much. Sadiq Bey gave you 10, 23 from John Collins, 25 from Trae Young, and 19 from DeJounte Murray. 16 from AJ Griffin. I'm still not sold on the Hawks come playoff time. I'm still not sold. I don't know what they're going to do. They probably get bounced out of the play-in tournament, to be honest with you. A lot of games last night to go through. Toronto and Boston. Boston beat Toronto 97-93. OG Anunoby gave you 12. 28 from Pascal Siakam. Jacob Poeltl gave you 10. 18 from Scotty Barnes. Boston didn't even have Jason Tatum. They literally had Sam Hauser, Mike Muscala, Robert Williams, who didn't play last game, but this game, Jaylen Brown put up 25, 29 from Malcolm Brogdon, and 17 from Derek White. And that's the three guys they needed to do something since Jason Tatum was out. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, who Derek White's pretty much been their third best player all year, and Malcolm Brogdon is they're going to be their number one guy off the bench. And that's the thing, man. They're going to be they're the same team as last year, but with Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting. Bucks beat the Bulls 105-92. Portis gave you 27. Definitely love Bobby Portis as a player. 21 points from Nikola Vucevic, and pretty much that's it. Kobe White gave you 14 off the bench. Former Tar Heel and Zach LaVine gave you 13. 27 from Bobby Portis, 26 from Brook Lopez, Javon Carter, 18, Drew Holiday, 20. And that's the thing about the Bucks, man. Chris Middleton didn't even play by 8 minutes. Hopefully that's just because they were resting him. Hopefully that's what it was. Oh, man. Pelicans beat the Memphis Grizzlies 138-131 in an overtime win. Dylan Brooks gave you 40. Desmond Bane, 24. 13 from Tyus Jones. And, of course, Ja Morant didn't play. Trey Murphy, the third, gave you 30. 24 from Brandon Ingram. 35 from Herbert Jones. And 31 from CJ McCollum. They balled the hell out. You had three players give you 30, and 4 were over 25. It's going to be hard. It's almost impossible to beat any NBA team when 3 players give you 30 points or more and 4 give you 25 or more. Sacramento Kings lost to the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks needed this. And that's the thing. People are talking about, are the Dallas Mavericks going to sit Kyrie and Luka? Because to be honest with you, if Dallas could win the last few games, they might get into that play-in tournament slot. So, and then, you're going to trade for Kyrie only to just give it up? And this is why I ain't sold on the Kings, because even if they sat a bunch of players, I'm still not sold. And they didn't. Keegan Murray gave you 11, 16 from Harrison Barnes, Domantas Sabonis, 19 and 11, but he was a negative 14. And 28 from De'Aaron Fox, 14 from Kevin Huerter, 13 from Malik Monk. All their guys put up some points, but they were negatives. That means they probably didn't do good on defense. Tim Hardaway gave you 24, or Tim Hardaway Jr., who's probably going to get traded because of his father, Tim Hardaway Sr., coming out publicly saying that Kyrie and Luka Doncic are not leaders. So 24 from Tim Hardaway Jr., 31 from Kyrie with 8 assists and 29, 6 assists and 10 rebounds from Luka Doncic. Okay, we got a few more games. Lakers, Clippers, and that's the last game. And I got a stat line for y'all after this box score that a friend of mine told me. Okay, so Lakers lost 125-118. LeBron gave you 33 and 7 assists, 8 rebounds, but he was a negative 10. LeBron was a negative 10. Anthony Davis was a plus 9 with 17 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Austin Reeves was a plus 9, 20 points, and 15 for D'Angelo Russell was a +8. You had all the bench was negative. All the bench players were negative. Malik Beasley, really, it's LeBron and the bench that lost this game. What it's looking like. Kawhi Leonard gave you 25, 17 from Zubac with 13 rebounds, 14 from Russell Westbrook, and 27 from Norman Powell. Bones Highland, my favorite name in the NBA, gave you 14, and Terrence Mann gave you 10. The only negative was like Norman Powell with his 27 points. And Kawhi Leonard was a -1, but he gave you 25 points. LeBron was literally a -10. He was the worst player on the court last night, based on the stats. And here's a stat that friend Johnny Dozier told me. The last 2 years, LeBron and Anthony Davis have literally only played this many straight games together. This many, five straight games together total. How can you get a long stretch and a long winning streak when your two best players have only played 5 games together, 5 total straight games together? That means they haven't played 6 total games together at all. And before I get into this, Caitlin and Angel Reese, let me see if there's anything on NFL.com newsworthy. Cam Newton's. This is a joke, man. Cam Newton reveals quarterbacks he'd start behind. I hope he named every single quarterback in the league, Cam. I hope you named every single quarterback in the league. Because you've been a backup on the last 2 teams you were on. You were a backup when you left the Panthers to Mac Jones, and you were a backup when you went back to Carolina behind Sam Darnold. I hope Cam Newton, and that's the thing. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. I'm from North Carolina, but let's be realistic here. If Cam Newton named quarterbacks he'd start behind, he better name every single one in the league. I know Kenny Pickett better be on that list. Kenny Pickett better be on that list. And yeah, I'm probably being a little biased because you see the name above me. You see the name Pickett. But there's nothing really newsworthy. Tyreek Hill plans to retire after 2025 season. Well, he's probably going to be declining, going down after the 2025 season. You can't run that fast forever, Tyreek Hill. And he's a little guy, and all due respect, like receivers and running backs don't last forever. They don't last as long as quarterbacks or offensive linemen or probably defensive linemen. All right, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I really wanted to stay away from this topic because I don't like the way the direction it's went. First of all, this is what I would say. The media made too much of what Angel Reese did in the first place. They made too much of what Angel Reese did in the first place. Now, do I think what Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark did were exactly the same? No, I don't. The devils is in the details. I don't. I think a lot of people are really taking the fact that the Barstool cat called Angel Reese a classless piece of shit. That's going way too far. When I say what she did is disrespectful, yeah, because getting anybody's face is disrespectful. And if she would, and if Caitlin Clark would have punched her like that one chick punched that other player in the tournament, they would have made more of a racial issue of it than it already is. I think the media shouldn't have made an issue of it in the first place. I think the media is always looking to report negative things. They're always looking to report negative things. And that's what the media does nowadays. Media doesn't care about reporting positive things. Every now and then you'll see on local news one positive like news thing, and everything else is negative. They might show one little positive community thing that happens, and then everything is negative. So there's that. I think a lot of people took what the Barstool media cat said, and ran with it like it was an across the board thing. Um, so there's that going on. There's the media always report negative things, and then I think there's a lot of people in there that are like race baiters and race hustlers that report on it too, and they can't have they never have an objective like thought or outlook because their minds are there's so many people their minds are already made up with these kind of things. They're already biased. Um, so there's that going on, and like yes, they were both taunting. One was taunting the crowd, and one like if you walk up behind somebody in the streets and get in their face, that's not always going to bode well. So the idea you just did it in a sports setting and it was acceptable is really bogus to me, especially when they were the incident where the two chicks were in the line to shake hands after the game, and the one black player punched the one white chick in the face, cheap shot at her, and then kept walking and has the nerve to plead not guilty when it's literally on camera. It's on video, and you got the nerve to plead not guilty. There's no more. We don't need no more evidence or witnesses than that. You know. So I think a lot of this tournament has been made into a racial thing. You know, like I'm gonna go back to like when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were going against each other in the NBA. They made it a black versus white thing, but they didn't make it a racist thing. They didn't make it a racism thing. It was just really marketing. And Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, without them, there's no telling where the NBA is. The NBA was looking like crap before Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. It was. So I think there's a lot of elements. And I think the Don Staley thing played a part of this too. Because Don Staley took a metaphorical compliment, and applied racism to it. Somebody said that going up against Don Staley's team, trying to rebound against their team is like having a bar fight because they're such good rebounders. And she took that as racism. I'm sorry, but if I'm not mistaken, isn't it mainly white people who start bar fights? Bar fights? We're talking about bar fights, actual like full-on bar fights. That's a lot of white people, country bar, redneck white people thing. What are we talking about here? And don't you have to fight for rebounds to dominate rebounding? Don't you have to fight for rebounds to dominate reboundings? Duh. Yeah, like we took a metaphor and applied racism to it when technically the it's more white people that start bar fights. We're talking about bar fights, actual bar fights. It's a lot of white people starting those. A lot of white people starting those in redneck bars and things of that nature. And plus, you have to fight for rebounds. So I think the Don Staley thing played a part. I think the media with their negative thing, always looking for negativity, played a part. I think Angel Reese didn't do herself no justice by walking up behind her and getting in her face and taunting, because the other chick didn't get no individual player's face. She just did a split second to the crowd, and the other chick walked up behind her. Angel Reese walked up behind her, Caitlin Clark, followed her, and then she also threw the extra thing with the ring too, which is, I guess you could say I could see what some people would say that's classless, but I wouldn't call it like, you don't got to go so far as, if you think it's classless, you don't got to go so far as call her a piece of shit. Um, Now, I think Jill Biden just made it worse. I think Jill Biden just made things worse. She it could have died down. It could have started to die down some, but Jill Biden made it worse by sitting there and inviting the losing team to the White House with the winning team. When you already know there's some controversy going on there. There's a versus thing going on, a controversy. There's a issue there that, they say time heals all wounds. That you probably need to let time play its part, or some other media. You know how the media works. It just takes one other story to just happen, and nobody's even talking or thinking about that one. But Joe Biden made it worse by sitting there and saying, let's invite the losing team. Because now you got people that's sitting there saying, well, okay, Jill Biden is only wanting to invite the losing team because they're predominantly white. And there's this white chick that is like the star of it that was getting all the hype, through the tournament. And I didn't even know about Caitlin Clark until I seen somebody was telling me, like, she assisted on 40% of all the baskets of her team in the tournament, or she scored or assisted on 40-some%. And I think that's another element that plays a part in this. The fact that she was getting coverage that LSU probably deserved and felt like they should have got as well. But there's always, like, typically a star, a quote unquote 1-star player of the tournament that gets just that extra coverage. And LSU was clearly the better team, so they felt, I guess they felt disrespected. They felt like they should have got the same amount of coverage or more coverage, and I think that played a part in it as well. But Jill Biden, she made it worse. And me, to be honest with you, the fact that she's the one that came up and made it worse, I love it. I love it because now they can hold that same energy that they do with Trump and stuff, whatnot. That's the thing. Like, people are always hypocrites when it comes to this Trump versus Biden thing and Biden versus Trump. They're so hypocritical with those stances. And now people can get pissed off, and I know Sleepy Joe's over there probably like, wishing she would have shut the hell up and wouldn't have said that, because, now he looks bad. Probably people probably gonna be mad at him too, because there's a lot of people that's very, very upset about Jill Biden inviting the losing team to the White House as well. Because this is the thing too, it gives people the room or the reason to start questioning or implying or wondering, if LSU would have lost, would she invited LSU to the White House if they were the losing team and I was a winning team? And me and my friend, we discussed that too, and I brought that point up, that it's going to give people the room to speculate, and make assumptions that we will never know. But I love that it was Jill Biden that did it, but she just made matters worse. Like, she just made the racial tensions of it worse, and it's really the media that's making it look racial and racism, because Caitlin Clark hasn't, like, just, I gotta say that her response to this has been like, just brush it off. She lost. She lost. We don't gotta. It's the media that makes all this extra in social media. The media and social media. The problem with social media is everybody has a voice on social media. Even if you got 10 followers, 100 followers, 1,000 followers, everybody has a voice on social media. If somebody if somebody's listening, if somebody's actually engaging you know, and social media makes everybody think they have a voice or feel they should have a voice and whatnot, you know. And I see on my live TikTok, you got people trying to come into my live. I'm pre-recorded, so I can't bring you in on my live while I'm pre-recording, um, and whatnot. But I'm gonna start going live when I'm not doing my morning updates and I'm not doing my reactions, so I can interact. But if I don't know you, don't be trying to come in on my live. If you don't know me personally, don't be trying to come in my live like that. Sorry, it's not happening and whatnot. But that's my take on this Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese thing. The media should have never made it what it was. And now everybody on social media has a voice, you know, has made it what it is. And you got so many people on there that's got these biased opinions and biased views that it doesn't matter, you know, what the details are or what's going on. They're automatically going to just see it one way and whatnot. And I just think it's been blown too much out of proportion and whatnot. So yeah, and I kind of agree with, if I agree with anybody on this, I probably would have to say I agree with LaShawn McCoy's take on this the most. Like, yeah, she followed her. She kind of stalked up her, walked behind her. That was a little disrespectful. But, you know, it's not nothing for us to call somebody a piece of shit over. Like, can we just focus on um there was a championship game. It was the women's tournament was probably better. To be honest with you, the women's tournament was probably better than the men's this year. The men's tournament was like, who wanted to watch the men's tournament? Nobody wanted to watch the men's tournament whatsoever. The women's tournament was better than the men's tournament. It had a lot more excitement, and that's the thing. Like the media, they just couldn't just sit there and just take it as LSU won. They were the better team. Congratulations. No, let's just go after the, you know, probably the only negative thing that happened in the whole thing, you know, was that. So yeah, I blame the media on this, and then I blame social media, you know, because once it hits social media, you know, opinions are like assholes, and everybody has one. So, and all the biased opinions come out, and that's what makes it worse, you know. So yeah, once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in, Paul Pickett Podcast, and I'm out.